My name's Cherry Pizza. This is my YouTube video. I'm going to be spending it talking about another Oz adaptation. I'm going to give it some light-hearted mocking, but my sarcasm will barely conceal the fact that I secretly lap up its schlockiness. Right now, you're wondering why I'm being so over the top in stating the obvious. And the answer is, it's the only way to truly get into the spirit of today's offering. So think, Oz story, condensed into the space of a 60-minute TV episode, minus time for commercial breaks, on a show that never sacrificed the cheese for a bit of good old-fashioned family entertainment. You know you're destined for a whole load of exposition. The show was the Shirley Temple Show. The story? L. Frank Baum's second book, originally called The Marvellous Land of Oz, which was later re-released as The Land of Oz, much like the first book, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, which was later republished without the adjective. But anyway, back to Shirley Temple. Now, it is well known in movie trivia circles that she was under consideration to play Dorothy in the 1939 MGM movie. Depending on which source you read, either she was the dead cert to play it but 20th Century Fox wouldn't lend her out, or she was just a passing consideration that didn't come to light. But either way, as we all know, the role did go to Judy Garland. But let's flash forward 21 years to this special when an adult Shirley Temple finally had the opportunity to hold her own in the Land of Oz, and she made her intentions clear right from the start.
Hello, and welcome to another hour of fun and excitement, designed each week for the enchantment of the entire family. In just a moment, a magic word will transform your television screen into the marvelous land created by L. Frank Baum, the land of talking flowers and flying furniture, that happy land where no one can die and everyone enjoys himself forever.
Our story begins with Jonathan Winters as Nickerdick, sometimes called Lord Nickerdick, sometimes called General Nickerdick, and Arthur Treacher as his butler, or yes-man, Graves, both showing that in those days there was no shortage of talent willing to succumb to the cheese of a TV special. As we meet them, Nickerdick is facing the ordeal of ordeals for cookie-cutter bad guys. He's feeling good.
Try some of that raw meat, Lord Nickerdick. You'll be your wicked self in no time.
I'm bored with raw meat.
Would you like to beat the servants, your lordship?
You know I have no energy when I feel good.
How about torturing a few of the prisoners? The new thumbscrews have arrived.
The way I feel this morning, Graves, I could kill everyone in this wretched castle. Starting with you.
Oh, I'm sorry that you can't. I really am. But remember, people can't be killed here.
Oh, don't remind me. What's the use of being the wickedest man in all of Oz and you can't kill anybody? A fine way to run a country. I tell you, Graves, if I were king, I'd make some changes.
I'm sure you would, your lordship.
Graves! I just came up with the most horrible idea.
What is it?
Ah, sweet loyal Graves, how noble of you to ask the question when just about every viewer's already figured it out. Indeed, in this special, every thought, every intention, every action, every motivation is shouted from the rooftops so passionately that thanks to this fine troupe, you could probably hear the story in, 3.5 minutes. Start the clock now!
I'll start a revolution. I'll make myself king. King Nickerdick the Wicked. What I'd like to know is...
whether old Mombi can get rid of the Princess Ozma, eh? As long as I keep the princess, I know your lordship will keep his word about making me the Royal Witch of Oz. I stole you, princess. You're going to be changed to mine. The instant I touch you with this serpent's plume, you'll forget everything you ever knew.
This ought to give old Mombi a fright.
Maybe you could do the chores around the place. How would you like to be alive, dearie? Look, it's the powder of life.
What's your name?
Tip,
What cornfield are you from?
I'm not a pumpkin head. I'm a boy.
Now's the time for you to help me get out of here.
What's that for? That's the powder that brought you to life. I'll take it back with us in case you need a boost. Who's Ozma?
Well, she's the ruler of all Oz.
Does she help folks in trouble?
Why, that's her specialty.
Then we'll go see her. Thank you.
Oh, It's Mombi and a lot of soldiers, and they're riding on animals of some kind.
This is just a sawhorse. A real horse is alive. And I can make it live with the powder of life.
Well, we have come to see the Princess Ozma.
Oh, that's impossible. Ozma's been stolen. The Scarecrow has been made king until she's found again.
I'll be there just as soon as my soldiers batter down your gates and scale your walls, and then the dreadful fun will start.
It's Nick-a-Dick again.
Open! Open!
It's the Tin Woodman! I knew you would save us. I was telling my friends here that you could lick Lord Nick-a-Dick and his whole army single-handed.
Oh, I didn't fight Nick-a-Dick's army. They're gone.
Gone?
Yes, there's not a soldier in the city.
You're wrong, dearie. None of us went any place. I just made the army invisible.
That's it. We can't run out, we can't dig out, so we'll fly out.
But how?
Easy. We'll build some sort of a thing with wings. You bring it to life. Easy. Follow me.
It's our machine. Now it's up to Tip to bring it to life.
Fasten your seatbelts, please.
My army has yours surrounded, Lord Nick-a-Dick. You can fight, but in time you will certainly be captured. In the meantime, however, I am prepared to make your ultimate punishment much lighter, if you will at once give up to me the person who calls herself Mombi the Wit. By my magic, I have learned that you know the whereabouts of our rightful ruler, Princess Ozma.
Just to show you that you can't do anything about it, I'll tell you. The Princess Ozma is that rat boy, Tip.
All your spells are broken, Mombi.
Hail, Princess Ozma!
And Nick-a-Dick, I condemn you from this day forward to do one good deed every day, and forever after to be known as Lord Nick-a-Dick the Good.
But what'll my friends say? This is the end, chaps.
Now that we've got that covered, on to the much more pressing issue of holding this movie side by side with L. Frank Baum's book. So the two of them share a title. That means they should share a story, right? Right? In the eternal search for a diplomatic answer, I can say this much. Much of what happens in the movie did happen in the book. But imagine, if you will, two kids being given identical buckets of Lego. One of them uses those pieces to make a duck, the other uses them to make a post-apocalyptic soda fountain. That's pretty much how this book and the movie compare to each other. Let's maybe take it one piece at a time. Yes, the book has a Nick-a-Dick. It has a Mombi. It has an Ozma who is transformed into a Tip and back again. It has a usurping of the ruler of Oz. It has Jack Pumpkinhead. It has a Powder of Life. It has the Scarecrow being ruler for a time. And now comes the tricky part. Rearranging these pieces so that they somehow resemble the original story. So to make sense of the whole saga, we need to go right back to the days when Oz was first visited by Oscar Diggs, aka the Wizard of Oz. According to this book, not so much the later books, but definitely this one, he usurped King Pastoria. He stole his throne and effectively became the ruler of the land of Oz. However, there was an inconvenient thing that could have stood in the way of his ambition. That inconvenient thing was Pastoria's baby daughter, Ozma. Unable to deal with a rightful ruler in his presence, he took Ozma to Mombi, who transformed her into the boy Tip, who grew up not knowing his or her, whatever the appropriate pronoun is, true identity. Got it? Good. Let's keep going. Yes, Tip creates Jack Pumpkinhead to scare Mombi. Yes, Mombi uses the Powder of Life on him. Yes, he runs away with Tip. Yes, they steal the Powder of Life. But where does Mombi get this powder from to start with? Well, when she first makes reference to it, she says she obtained it from, and I quote, a crooked wizard. Later on in the book, when Tip's friends ask him where it came from, he says it came from a crooked sorcerer. Now, in the fourth book, Dorothy and the Wizard in Oz, the now redeemed wizard, again, more on that later, does claim that one wizard is worth 3 sorcerers, but let's just assume for now, wizard, sorcerer, all the same person. Who is this crooked wizard or sorcerer? Well, when Tip and his friends empty the box containing the Powder of Life, they find a secret compartment in the bottom. inside that compartment, 3 wishing pills made by Dr. Nicodick. So whether he's a wizard, a sorcerer, a doctor, he's not a lord, he's not a general, he's not involved in usurping the throne, and doesn't actually physically appear in the story. So, the big question is, if Ozma is already transformed into Tip at the time the book begins, who usurps the throne from whom? Well, at the start of the book, the Scarecrow is the ruler of the Emerald City and by extension, the Land of Oz. When the wizard took off in his balloon at the end of the first story, he bequeathed the throne to our straw-filled friend. Throughout the second book, he is overthrown, but not by anyone who appears in this special. His usurper is General Ginger and her army of revolt. Ginger's motivation for seizing control? Oz had been ruled by men for long enough. Now, on the surface, this might sound like an uplifting, pioneering move in the cause of feminism. But maybe not so much when you consider her reasoning that the city glitters with beautiful gems which might be better used for rings, bracelets and necklaces, and there's enough money in the king's treasury to buy every girl in our army a dozen new gowns. So we intend to conquer the city and run the government to suit ourselves. And her army's weapons? 2 knitting needles in a bun at the back of everyone's hair. So yes, they gained power, but no, they did not break any stereotypes. And our story ends with the all-knowing Glinda, the Good Witch of the South, consulting her records to inform the Scarecrow that the throne is not rightfully his, or the wizard's, or Ginger's, but Princess Ozma's. She uses her magical powers to get the truth out of Mombi, and then restores Princess Ozma's true identity, not to mention her place as ruler of Oz. Now, as I've mentioned before, excuse me, could I maybe... Thank you. As I've mentioned before, a lot of this changes 2 books later, and I'll get to that soon, but before that happens, let's look at a few more magical highlights from Shirley Temple's romp through the Land of Oz. We have the wonders of 1960s green screen technology.
Father, is horseback riding dangerous for pumpkins?
Sometimes mixed with the Hanna-Barbera style rolling backgrounds, and sometimes mixed with music that sounds nothing at all like a song from another Oz movie.
We fooled them that time.
I like that. Unless you wish to tip me over.
We have special staging effects borrowed from many a school play to give us an unstuffed scarecrow.
Gelia, I've got some hard thinking to do. I've got to find Ozma.
Oh, you will, sire. Everyone knows you're stuffed with the finest brains in Oz.
Oh, let's get on with the stuffing, Gelia.
We have actors overly keen to say their lines.
As for you, Mombi, I say that this old woman has been punished enough by the loss of her witchcraft. She can do no further harm.
You'll see, dearie.
And not forgetting the legendary Mel Blanc, best known for voicing the Looney Tunes characters, helping to bring a wooden horse to life.
I'm saying nay. What do you expect a horse to do, talk?
But back to the original stories. Firstly, for those who wonder what became of General Ginger, well, Ozma did encounter her at the end of the 3rd book, Ozma of Oz, and they had the following exchange. "Hi, it's General Ginger, isn't it?" "Yes, Your Highness," was the reply, as Ginger dropped a low curtsy, and Dorothy looked wonderingly at this lively appearing person who had once assembled an army of women and driven the Scarecrow from the throne of the Emerald City, and even fought a battle with the powerful army of Glinda the Sorceress. "I've married a man who owns 9 cows," said Ginger to Ozma, "and now I'm happy and contented and willing to lead a quiet life and mind my own business." Aww. But there was no way that Bourne was going to leave it there without adding an extra layer of complication. "Where is your husband?" asked Ozma. "He's in the house, nursing a black eye," replied Ginger calmly. "The foolish man would insist upon milking the red cow when I wanted him to milk the white one. But he'll know better next time, I am sure." But on to much bigger matters. It seems that readers of the book series were just too fond of the wizard, even with all of his humbuggery, to accept him as a power-hungry usurper. So when he reappeared in the 4th book, in true Orwellian fashion, history was rewritten. In the Book 4 version of the story, the king had long been deposed by 4 wicked witches, one who ruled the purple Gillikin country in the north, one who ruled the red Quadling country in the south, one who ruled the blue Munchkin country in the east, and one who ruled the yellow Winky country in the west. When the wizard floated into the land with his balloon adorned with the letters OZ, the people of the country were sure that a grand and noble being was arriving to rule them. Out of the goodness of his heart, he'd let them believe it. So it turns out that previous kings of the land were always called Oz, and previous queens were always called Ozma. So not only did he no longer knife Pastoria in the back, but Pastoria never existed. And the last bit of retconning was that by the time the wizard arrived, one good witch had overpowered Mombi, who was apparently the evil witch of the north, and Glinda the Good had overpowered the evil witch of the south. And so the story goes, the wizard had the Emerald City built right in the middle of Oz so that he could rule over the whole land. Now, strangely enough, in the first book, the Emerald City was a sham. Everyone had to wear green glasses so that everything appeared to be emerald. By the second book, the emeralds were so real that Ginger and her army wanted to steal them. Now, this is not the only example of Oz's history and Oz's identity changing throughout the book series, and hopefully I'll be able to share some more of this with you in future videos. Before I wrap things up here, I just want to give a huge shout out to the fine couple featured on my t-shirt, Kaz and Liam. For an excited, squee-filled look at all things pop culture and retro, be sure to check out Kaz's channel, Nerdburger, following the link in my description. And before I depart to prepare the next video, any parting words, Shirley?
Until then, this is Shirley Temple wishing each of you a fond good night.
And this is Cherry Pizza saying stay happy, stay healthy, and have a lovely what's-her-name.